All right. Welcome, everyone. We are live with another weekly reject show, and we are joined with joined by Cody. Had a little a brain hiccup. We are joined by Cody and my lovely wife Lindsay. And how are you, Cody?
Oh, I'm all right. It was a lovely day outside. So,
It was a nice day outside. We took a drive. We have two little um, they're like half circle drives within each other, and they're just back roads, and they're really nice drives. And they take about, depending on how slow I drive, anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, and they're just a few miles away from the house. And we went and drove those, and it was just such a gorgeous day outside. It felt nice. Um,
Could do without all these bugs
yeah,
I
clogging up.
mean, yeah, but spring is coming. So,
Oh, it's here. Summer is creeping up behind us. I don't like it.
yeah, we're already covered in mosquitoes around the house,
yeah.
but it was a nice day, Cody, and that's what we did. We enjoyed outside as well. So, uh, but yeah, we are here this evening to discuss two more um, women-led and directed films: Tank Girl and Aeon Flux. And I will go ahead and say this. Not to ruffle any feathers, but Uh, I will go ahead and say that I do prefer Tank Girl out of the two.
I'm gonna agree. I think both of these movies had problematic productions. I think both the studio manhandled these films from the directors,
Right,
but
manhandled.
yeah, I use that word appropriately. Um, I think you can definitely see more ambition and an attempt at doing something interesting in Tank Girl. It's kind of a mess, but I appreciate what it's trying to go for. The only thing I got out of Aeon Flux was, well, this is well shot and the action's pretty good. There's an interesting movie in here, but that's not what we got.
Right. Aeon Flux was a mixed bag. I remember going to see this, and I remember rewatching the animated series that was on uh,
MTV.
MTV Liquid Television. I would
Mm-hmm.
catch them sometimes late at night, or even they would rerun them on Saturdays because they would have anime Saturdays where they would early mornings or throughout the morning up until lunch they would show anime. And I guess they considered this anime. And I think in a way it was. The animation was really wild.
It's at
um
least probably anime inspired, right? Because I don't
yeah,
think it is an anime per se, but I remember like weren't they like little short segments though? Weren't they not even like 30-minute or 20-minute episodes? They were pretty short, right?
yeah, they started out as segments and they became popular, and I think they turned into little
Okay,
30-minute episodes.
because I remember the segments a lot of times would come on late at night, and I remember when I was trying to sneakily watch Beavis and Butthead, like they would show some of these
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
like in between like commercial breaks or something.
Right.
So I did not see this movie, which I guess let's go ahead and get Aeon Flux out of the way.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
have more to say about Tank Girl than I do Aeon Flux.
so I didn't see this movie when it came out. I knew it was based off the MTV cartoon. It had Charlize Theron in the lead, so that seemed cool.
Well,
But
they originally wanted the director wanted Michelle Rodriguez because they had worked together in
Yes. Girl Fight, yes. Karen Kusama, who directed this film. This is her second feature film. Yeah, she wanted Michelle Rodriguez for the lead, but the studio's like, that's not a big enough name. You need a bigger name actress in the lead. And I don't know, like, character wise, if, like, that's whitewashing. I don't really know if, like, Aeon Flux is supposed to be a certain race or whatever.
Pointedly not picking Michelle Rodriguez, is that her name?
Yeah.
Seems like pretty whitewashed. Intended.
Oh, for sure.
Isn't. If she's ambiguous, lighter
Right.
skinned person.
And they like the movie. I think one of the issues, and I'm pretty sure what fans had issue with the most is the story had nothing to do with the series at all, and they made a lot of slight changes that just didn't make any sense. It didn't make any contribution to the story. And you're right. I think it was very well shot. I think the action's well done, but the story was a mess. Like it was just, I thought it was slow and very.
Well, it's very slow. It's very, like, other than Charlize Theron, I think every other actor in this movie is, like, reading it like they're just reading off the script. Like,
Exactly. And go back and look at the animation and the design they had from the animation, and it was very heavy metal, and to me,
inspired. Well, yeah, this is very heavy metal inspired, especially with how they drew the character of her.
right. And it had so much potential, and it seemed like they tried to streamline it.
Well,
And
I'm not sure what Kusama's original vision of this movie was, because the studio apparently did not like her cut of the film. They said it was too much like an art film and wasn't blockbuster enough. But it looks like they took out all the personality that was probably in the movie and probably edited all the scenes out that probably showed some of these actors giving, like, an actual performance.
right. I talk about every once in a while, I'll talk about a movie that just really bored me. And it's rare because when I go into a movie, I'm really focused on no matter how I feel about that movie, but there are some movies out there that just I could not keep interest in that movie, even in a theater setting. And I either drifted but this was one of them. I remember going to see this movie. And again, I had watched the series beforehand, and I was kind of like, I wasn't just a huge fan. I was just like, oh, that's cool that they're doing this, and I want to see how they adapt it. I guess I was more of a casual fan, just kind of remembering staying up and watching them, and when they used to come on and whatnot. But yeah, I remember going to watch it, and it was just so different, and it felt butchered, and I lost interest really quick. It was really hard, even rewatching it. And I haven't watched this since I saw it in theaters, and
Like,
even the rewatch, I felt it really hard to pay attention. You know,
yeah, it's pretty by the numbers as far as, like, what it's doing. It's not doing anything really interesting. Like, we've seen this kind of scenario in a sci-fi dystopian world, right? Like, they're not able to create new life, and then whatever. And, like, really, like, not even the motivations are clear of what, because is it Johnny Lee Miller wants to kill his brother, who's like some great scientist, because they found people are having babies and he wants to live forever because they just reclone themselves when they
yeah,
die.
it was really weird. I told Lindsay, I was like, look, this is Like, I don't want this movie to turn you off of AI. Like, we should go back and watch the series. It's way better. The animation is wicked. I think you would appreciate that a lot more. And speaking of, I talking about ruining movies, ruining something before you can enjoy it beforehand. I watched was it Aragon? The Aragon movie
Oh yeah. Oh, the dragon.
with the dragon. It's the Aragon series, or not Aragorn. I think it's Aragon.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Look,
I
everyone
think
loves those books, and I went and I watched the film, and I was like, oh, this is not a good movie. Like, and I love fantasy and stuff like that, but it didn't catch my fancy, you know. And I was like, that kind of turned me off of reading the books. Don't let that happen, because I do eventually want to read those books because I heard they're really great. But man, did that movie not make me want to read those books?
I mean, though getting down to it, I think it's an issue that we still have with adapting, as particularly things of like that animation style to live action. Like very few people have done it successfully, and even when it's done successfully, some people don't like it. Like the Wachowskis did Speed Racer, I think is still the best kind of adaptation of that kind of material. And
Yeah.
I think Rodriguez and James Cameron did a decent job with Alita Battle Angel as well, but for the most
I will argue that Sin City, in my eyes, is right up there with um, Speed Racer.
Oh yeah, but Sin
Well,
City's a
that's
comic book adaptation though. So
true.
we've
Okay,
had
saying
we've
from
had much more comic book adaptations successfully.
right.
But it's just speaking of the Wachowskis, they should have been, after the success of The Matrix, we should have been able to do better interpretations of this type of animation style, even though The Matrix wasn't based on any kind of anime, but it definitely isn't heavily inspired by anime. But I think people got the wrong thing of why The Matrix was good. They're like, oh, it's got like cool gunfights and kung fu and
Right.
like, yeah, those are cool, but that's not why The Matrix was good, you know?
Oh yeah, it's the story that was the story. I mean, it was
Was the story and the vision from those two filmmakers. And a lot of times, and this is funny because I just remembered hearing this story. So, the Oscars just happened this past weekend, right? And Todd Field, who directed Tar, was up for nominations. And when he was directing his first movie in the bedroom, he was talking to Tom Cruise because he had been in Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise, and he was telling him that Harvey Weinstein is he keeps telling me he wants to make cuts to the movie and like it's ruining the movie. And Tom Cruise is like, this is what you do. You agree with everything he says, and you cut the movie down and you show it to a test audience, and the test scores are going to be lower. And then he's going to come back and say, we got to cut more. And you just agree. And the test scores are going to keep getting lower and lower each time he demands more cuts, until the point where he's like, he doesn't know what to do. And you'd be like, well, why don't we just show the original version and see how that plays? And that's how he got his cut of the movie, his first movie.
That's old Tom. Oh, and speaking of Tom, we finally watched Top Gun Maverick the other night, and that is a solid film. I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's very good. I mean, I don't love it as much as most of the nation, but it's a fun time at the movies. It's entertaining, and I think it's a better movie than the original.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and you don't have to have seen the original. That's what I was telling Lindsay last night. I was like, you don't have to have watched the original to enjoy this because they explain everything through the flashbacks and the cameos and the Easter eggs and stuff. I mean, you pick up on it.
I
Like
do
Ray
think I think it's a shame that this movie got treated the way it was, because I think Kusama would have made an interesting film, or even if it wasn't that faithful to the animated series, I think if they had just let her make the movie she wanted to make, it at least wouldn't have been boring, because that's what they did to this movie. They made it
Yeah,
boring.
it seems like they cut like you said. It seems like they cut all of the things out that would have made it more in depth and interesting, and probably have made it cohesive. And they cut it out, and it just didn't make.
They sucked the life out of it.
Yeah, good. They sucked the life out of the movie.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie as far as like, oh my god, this is horrible. It's just bland and boring, which is a shame. And she didn't get to make another movie for 4 years, and then that movie didn't do well, even though it's a much better movie. And then she's in director jail again for like 7 years.
Yeah, and that's a shame.
The only reason you
Um,
should go to jail or movie jail is if you are actively harming people you're working with.
yeah, that's the only time you should go to movie jail. You shouldn't go to movie jail if you make a movie that didn't do well, because I mean, like, there are far worse people that
Maybe
got.
get there a lot more often for the first offense, whereas many directors just get all these chances.
Well, Elizabeth Banks,
Yeah.
in Point. She does Charlie's Angels. She gets shunned for it and made fun of and review bombed. And then here comes Cocaine Bear, which is just bonkers. I really want to see this film. And now it's doing so well and good for her.
Yeah, well, there is one male director that got put in director jail and hasn't been able to come out of it, and kind of is in the career. Of course, he was an actor first, but kind of has a directing career that the director of Tank Girl has, and that's Jonathan Frakes. Like, after Thunderbirds flopped, he hasn't directed a movie since.
True, but he's back into Trek, and
Yeah, he's doing fine. I'm just saying he said he's okay with directing TV because there's no pressure if the episode's bad, because it's not
right.
on the director. Like, everyone forgets about it in a month or two, and if it's a really good episode, then you get praised for it. So he's like, it's all good. Before we get to Tank Girl, though, is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Aeon Flux?
Um, it was meh. I again out of the two movies. Yeah, it was.
That's what I felt like when it came out. I never saw
bland.
it when it came out, but I was like,
bland.
Oh, yeah.
Cody put it.
They took all the flavor out of it, and they wondered why it didn't do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna put one of the and she's not a huge star, but you put Charlize Theron in a movie, and we know she can do action movies. So, like, it should have done better, and it should have been better. But I'm not blaming the director, or I'm blaming the studio. I don't know what they wanted, but what they got was not good.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, out of the two movies that we're reviewing tonight, the one that we're moving on to, I prefer.
Oh, yeah, I prefer this movie too. Is it messier? Yeah, it's a messier movie, but like it's not boring.
What was this your first time watching it?
Yes, this is my first time ever watching it. I had heard about it, heard it was a flop, heard it was kind of a bad movie, but then I started hearing like it had a cult following, and like there are people that liked it quite a bit.
Okay.
And
this movie, not all okay. Yes, you put it right. It's messy. It is a messy movie. But if you read the comics, It is a messy, all over the place, just punk ass comic. And I will say this: they nailed it with Lori Petty.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, I don't
Like,
know who else in the 90s could have played this role.
right. Again, like the first movie that we talked about, like Aeon Flux, this movie had a lot of behind the scenes drama, uh, a lot,
Hmm.
a lot of interference. I believe a lot of cuts.
Yeah,
Um,
that's apparently according to the comic creators who wrote the script or else worked on the script, said like they either cut stuff out or forgot to film stuff because that's where the animation sequences came from, was because like things were cut out of the movie.
right. But good, those sequences are kick ass though.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like those. I actually thought it was fun. So I enjoyed this movie, but part of me is like, I don't know why I'm enjoying this movie because this is one of the messiest, weirdest things I've ever seen.
it's like for one, it has a killer soundtrack. So with the soundtrack, it seems like a '90s music, like a grunge music video or alternative rock
Yeah,
music video.
but it's
And
very punk to me. Like the vibe is punk.
oh, of course, yeah, like it's punk rock. Just the designs are great and they're straight out of the comic. Again, Lori Petty looks just like Teen Girl should live action. Uh, this she is pre Harley Quinn. I think Harley Quinn probably borrowed heavily, or Margot Robbie borrowed heavily from this. Uh, it's just a bonkers movie, and I mean, it's just weird. It's weird in a good way. Is it perfect? No. Is it good? But it's just no, really.
Yeah.
It's visually and um sounds great. It's just, again, if you like '90s era grunge, alternative punk, just '90s rock music, and just weird shit, you'll enjoy this. And I do. Like I don't know. It felt weird. It was like if Rob Zombie had gotten a hold of um, Mad Max in a way. Like I don't know.
Do you know who I was thinking?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Cynthia, the beat up Barbie doll from Rugrats.
Yeah.
She was Tank Girl in my brain.
uh, I, I mean, it does have a very Mad Max vibe, and I wonder if Mad Max Fury Road, loosely, not maybe purposely, because there's the plot with there's not enough water in this in Tank Girl, right? Like the world's running out of water, and that's a big thing in Mad Max Fury Road. So
Right.
maybe George Miller was like, I should put more water in the next Mad Max movie. And when
Well, I remember buying comic books back in the mid '90s, and I probably still have some in my shelf in there that have the ads for Tank Girl on the back. Because I had a
like the
semi
movie,
on Lori Petty back in the day because I was
Really
like,
did?
wow,
Oh my god.
she's like hot in this weird, awesome. Here I am, small East Texas, nerdy Chris, you know, and here's this punk ass, awesome comic book character. She just looks hot. I mean, she still does. I'm just saying.
It's like, what are you trying to say about Lori Petty today, Christopher? No.
No, anyway, she still does, but I'm just saying, Tank Girl's awesome. Like Tank Girl,
She's kick ass.
she did. She portrayed Tank Girl awesome because I went back and read when we got the comics shop back in the day. I went through and I found some of the graphic novels and I read I read Tank Girl, and then I went back and watched the movie because I hadn't seen it since the VHS days, and I was like, wow, that's pretty, in my opinion, pretty damn accurate. But I will say it's accurate in the way that I think that the Stallone version of Judge Dredd is accurate in a way.
Okay, so it's got like the aesthetic, but
There's changes, but there's the aesthetic.
okay, gotcha.
Fine.
Well,
The vibe's there, yeah.
the vibe is there. Well, I tell you who else kicks ass in this movie, even though they're ashamed they're in it, is Naomi Watts, and I guess her first big movie
Yeah,
as Jet Girl.
yeah.
Apparently, she doesn't want anyone to know she's in this movie, but I don't know why.
There's fans out there. That's who that is. I was like, she looks familiar.
She's badass, and when she killed that one dude at the end, and she's like, "I said I didn't want to," I was like, "Yeah, you kill that guy."
Yes.
You go, girl
And
power.
her jet's awesome too.
I could tell you who I think didn't want to be in the movie, even though he's in it. And when someone tried to make fun of him for being in it, he's like, "I got paid $800,000 for being in it." So,
Malcolm McDowell.
oh no, Malcolm McDowell apparently enjoyed making the movie, and he looks like he's having a blast in this thing.
Yeah.
Likes being bad guy.
It's got to be Ice-T.
Yeah, Ice-T, which I don't know, maybe he didn't like wearing all that makeup or whatever, but I had vibes like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah. It's kind of half-assing it. I was like, nobody's going to know I'm under this.
I did.
I mean, yeah, I mean, they make him wear a do-rag. So, I mean, like, and he had dreads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, yeah, he's the kangaroo, but it's Ice-T. Did this movie... Go ahead, Lindsay.
I was just going to mention he has a line or whatever. Or they're like, well, who did you used to be? And he's like, I used to be a cop. And I was like, yeah, he was on Law and Order.
He was solving those sex crimes.
Right. Oh man.
What was I gonna say? Oh, did this movie create furries?
Ooh, gosh, no, I don't think it created them. I think it probably like turned a few people, like got them out of that. That was really creepy.
Okay, because yeah, that was weird. I was like, I'm pretty sure Tank Girl had sex with the kangaroo guy.
Yeah. Well, she does in the comic. She has a boyfriend, like a mutant.
She's dating kangaroo
boyfriend.
Yeah. Well, apparently that was one of the scenes they cut out. Was that?
Oh, okay. That's understandable.
Okay, we would have want that cut.
Whoa! Wait a minute. We can't have Lori Petty getting it on with a mutant kangaroo, but we can have what's her name having sex with old fish dude in the Way of Water.
The Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, yeah.
You got some
I saw Avatar: The Way of the Water. I don't remember anyone having sex with a whale in that movie.
Okay, that's good. I haven't seen that yet. I'm waiting to see that. I heard that's decent.
But that's not Guillermo del Toro and fault that they didn't want to do that back in '95 with Tank Girl.
Right. Not that I'm like
they didn't, because I thought those kangaroos were dogs, and I actually knew something about the comic before
Are they dogs in the comic book?
No,
no. They're
but
kangaroos.
I forgot that. I was like, why is she talking to dogs?
Lindsay had a Tank Girl haircut at one time.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Every day.
You should do that again.
It wasn't Tank Girl. I just shaved my head, but it was so convenient.
Just do half.
No, I don't want any dangly pieces. Lori Petty's the only person that can pull that off. I can't do that.
She's got a total buzz cut now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she rocks the buzz cut.
because she's on Orange is the New Black and some other TV show. I think it's called Station 11.
I have not heard of that one.
Yeah. It's a dystopian future show. A virus took out half the world's population, and they do Shakespeare now because they keep theater alive even in a dystopian future.
Oh, interesting.
She likes those dystopias, that Lord Penny.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, apparently she saw this comic book and was like, "This is me. I should be in this movie."
Well, yeah.
I like that kind of confidence. Like, yes, it's me. I'm here.
I did enjoy Malcolm McDowell's weapon that he killed people with. Like, it stabbed him, but it sucked out all the water from their body.
Yes.
Yeah, that was ugh.
That
I
was
was
great.
like, I can't be refreshing, but okay.
Oh, body temperature water.
Mmm. Yum.
Yeah.
So like a bottle of sweat. Thank you so much.
Salty.
It's Gatorade.
But yeah, you were mentioning that this definitely has Harley Quinn vibes, and I would not be surprised if Margot Robbie was a fan of this movie. And in fact, apparently at one time she was in talks to do a reboot of this.
Oh, well, not since she's played
'Cause there's
Harley
the character
Quinn,
now.
because they're basically, she'd have, I don't know, there's no way. She basically,
I think
she would
people go
basically
see
be
more of
playing.
what it's the chaos gremlin energy of those characters. I think people would want to see her in it. But does she
Well,
have
but
to?
she'd just be
Probably
playing
not.
Harley Quinn again. Like,
With a different hair?
it'd be the same role, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, I could, but it definitely has the vibes. And they even said that maybe like some of the Matrix sequels, and we already talked about Mad Max Fury Road. I wouldn't be surprised that the Wachowskis like this movie.
Oh, they'd have to. I enjoy this movie. Like, it's fun.
But yeah, it's a shame that I mean the director's got on to direct some awesome TV, but it's a shame she never got to direct any more movies after this because she had directed one of the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels.
Oh, wow.
And then yeah,
Which
she
one?
did The Final Nightmare, Freddy's Dead.
Oh, okay, cool. That's the
Yeah,
one
not
where
one of the better Friday movies, but she had worked on the franchise for a long time.
Now that's not the one where they're stuck in that town, right? And they can't get
Yep.
out.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's the one.
yeah. With I kind of enjoy that one. It's not one of the better ones, but I enjoy that one. But that's cool that she directed that.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then she directs this, and then now she's been directing TV for the last 30 years. Or 28 years, however many. It's almost 30 years. Gosh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. She directed a movie in 2020 that went straight to Netflix called A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, maybe we saw a trailer for that.
But she's mostly been doing TV, but she's directed episodes of Doctor Who and Doom Patrol and a lot of the CW shows. American Gods, Sabrina, Riverdale. So, yeah, she's been busy and maybe enjoys working on TV because there's less demands and pressure.
That's a lot of the better shows, you know.
Oh, for sure. I was looking it up. Apparently, they tried to get Green Day to be on the soundtrack, but by the time they got the movie made, Green Day was too expensive to have.
Oh no, you got priced out of Green Day.
Well, that after rewatching it, I was like, man, I'm going to YouTube to like soundtrack that's like it had a lot of awesome bands in there. I thought.
Yeah, you got Bjork song. You got they recut a Devo song to make it sound more like a grunge song for whatever reason.
Yeah, it definitely fit the vibe.
We get a creepy Iggy Pop cameo.
Yeah.
We're good on that little girl.
Yeah, good on that little girl. So like stabs us.
She handled it tank girl style.
As you should.
Mm.
But I was like, hey, there's Iggy Pop.
Yeah, that's what I said. Hey, Iggy Pop.
Whose name is Ratface.
Nice. Wow.
And apparently John Cusack's sister played Subgirl, but they cut her part down a lot.
Oh man, Joan Cusack. That would have been interesting.
No, it's Anne Cusack.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was an Anne. I knew there was a Joan and a.
Yeah, she was in A League of Their Own.
Oh, okay.
Boy, we don't pay attention to this.
Right.
But yeah, I think despite its issues, I think it's a fun movie because it's not boring. Because I can see what they were trying to go for.
Yeah, like I said, it felt very. They were like, man, we're gonna make this movie for MTV. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely has that vibe. And apparently they tried to get Spielberg to produce this, but he said he wasn't hip enough. And that apparent
You know what?
that
That's
was
an admirable quality when you can realize that you're not the person for that job.
Yeah.
and apparently that was in the marketing, too hip for Spielberg. I mean, he knows he's a nerdy guy. He's like, this is too punk rock for me. I'm not that guy.
We've been watching.
Too much dad energy these days, you guys.
Yeah, we've been watching a lot of stuff on Spielberg here lately, and the more I watch, the more I'm like, man, that's just an awesome dude. I love Spielberg.
Well, I mean, he is perhaps the greatest living filmmaker, so.
Right.
And seems to be a pretty nice guy on top of it.
Yeah.
That's the important part.
Well, I'll say this and then the other thing I just remembered. He said at the Golden Globes he tries to treat everybody with dignity and respect because he was once a PA on movies, so he knows how hard that job is. So he doesn't try to think anyone's above anyone else.
He did the equivalent of like serving your time in food service or retail work, customer service especially. Like,
yeah,
he got the short end of the stick first and decided he wasn't gonna keep doing that to other people.
Another movie that has this kind of energy is Kick-Ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially with Hit Girl. So.
You know what? Okay. Cody, you taught me this way back when we first started. There are no guilty pleasure movies. I enjoy the Kick-Ass film.
I didn't know Kick-Ass was considered a bad movie.
Well, I do have a confession. I have not seen the second one all the way through yet. I've only seen bits and pieces. And
it's not as good as this movie. I mean, as the first movie.
That's what I heard. And the whole thing with Jim Carrey, maybe that's what put me off of not wanting to see it for so long, But I am going to remedy that. But I do enjoy the first film. Like, I think when that comic came out, man, it was so different and refreshing in a way. And like, I don't know, I thought it was well done and funny and just really dark humor. And I liked the concept of people not having superpowers. They're just
volunteering to get their ass beat for the better good.
Yeah, and that's what happens, man. That kid gets his ass beat like bad, and then he ends up getting put in the hospital, and is going through a lot of surgeries and rehab, but they have to replace. They had to put metal and stuff on a lot of his bone and things that were broken, and uh, when he goes back in it, he has like a steel plate in his head. So when he gets back out there and gets back into fights, that's actually kind of what helps him
That becomes his superpower, was
being
getting his
able
ass
to
beat so
take,
hard.
yeah, being
Then he
able
got
to
to
take
Wolverine.
more beating is the stuff that they replace. But I don't know. I enjoyed the comics, and yeah, I think that's I thought it was a brilliant movie. Sorry to get off on that
That's
tangent.
that's fine. That's fine. What was I gonna say? Uh, Apparently, Courtney Love was considered for the role of Jet Girl, but dropped out because Kurt Cobain committed suicide. But she oversaw the soundtrack. I don't know. I kind of like that. Naomi Watts's personality played with the character. I don't know if that works with the comics, but apparently Naomi Watts was kind of shy on the set and like kind of hid behind Lori Petty and the director, and so they kind of like had to bring her personality out, and I think that shows on screen, and I kind of like that transformation.
Yeah. Well,
What?
Well,
Oh,
sorry.
the production designer of this movie, Catherine Hardwicke, would go on to become a film director herself, probably most famously for directing the first Twilight movie.
Well, that's cool.
But yeah, this movie's fun. Is it a masterpiece? No, but it's a fun movie.
It will wake you up after the other one puts you to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not watch these in the same day. If I did, I would have put on Aeon Flux first, because if I'd put Aeon Flux as the second movie, I probably would have been like, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I like it because it's chaotic. Again, it feels like an MTV movie with a soundtrack, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
But
it's fun.
yeah, and out of the
I could
two, this is the one that I really enjoy.
I can see why it has a cult following. Apparently, people do cosplay as Tank Girl to like cons and stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool cosplay. See a lot of really good ones.
So, but you know, this was a dark time for comic book adaptations in general. So,
Yeah. Maybe let's see when did this come out? Was it
95.
95? So I can see this right around. This was right before the Schumacher.
Yeah, apparently it was released March 31st. So this is right before Schumacher's Batman Forever.
And that's considered kind of a not as zany, but just he put nips on the Batman.
Yep, and you mentioned it, Judge Dredd, the Stallone Judge Dredd comes out this year. So
Yeah, they all had this vibe that I don't know. They were like, we just have to be outrageous in our interpretations, and
well,
this one
this
definitely.
is this one it works a little bit better, but I think they were still in the mindset that, oh, if it's based on a comic book, it has to be cartoony. And for some that works, but not everything.
Well, if you read the comics, this one fit this one fit the vibe of the comic. Like, well, to a point. Like they could have toned it down just a bit, but they still it's a chaotic comic book, and I think they got the chaotic vibe. They got the aesthetic down, but again, it was just, I don't know. It suffered from that. It kind of felt like the Street Fighter movie, you know? Like,
Hmm.
I don't
God,
know.
I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah, I don't. I haven't either, and I don't really have an interest to. I just remember the
God,
vibe.
that's Raul Julia's last movie.
Yeah, and he only did it. He did it, and he was like, because my kids like the video game.
Well, I'm sure he's pretty awesome in it, but I don't know about the rest of the movie. But no guilty pleasures, but I will tell you a movie I do have fun watching. Also came out in 95. Also kooky is the Mortal Kombat movie.
Ooh, yeah.
It's
That song
bad, but it's
slaps.
so much fun. Yeah, that song slaps.
I remember sneaking around at my friend's house playing that game. We'd have to sneak around and play. We'd get up late at night and play it in his living room, and we'd take turns watching the hallway in case his mom like got up to go to the bathroom or something, and we could switch it to like the TV. And
You sneaky snakes,
crazy,
you.
crazy, crazy times. But yeah, I mean that's a classic. Well, so what do we want to do next week? Do we want to get back into Marvel? Do we want to keep with Women's Month? I'm good with anything.
Well, if you want to stay with Women's Month, it's not really female led, but it is female directed. And it does have Tank Girl in it, Lori Petty, if we want just more Lori Petty. John Wick 4 is coming out next week. So do we want to get all oiled up and watch Point Break?
Oh yeah, let's do Point Break.
Catherine Bigelow's Point Break?
Yes. So what do we want to pair? Okay, we got to pair Point Break with Speed.
Do we?
Do
No,
we?
we don't have to. I'm just thinking 90s action flicks. So
You're just like, I want the Keanu love everywhere.
yeah. What do we want to pair with that film?
God, what do we want? Well, I tell you what. Let me see if it's streaming somewhere. Because it is female led, and she just won an Oscar. Okay, I don't have the Roku channel. What else is it on?
I thought Roku was free, huh? Or no?
It is if you can download it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow, is there not a digital video of this somewhere? Hold on. Because we could do 2 Catherine Bigelow movies, and we could do Jamie Lee Curtis and Blue Steel.
Blue Steel.
I've seen that.
That sounds familiar.
That sounds very familiar.
Blue
Okay,
Steel.
Catherine Bigelow.
Is that a
A
helicopter?
rookie policewoman engages in a cat and mouse game with a pistol wielding psychopath. Yeah, it's maybe not. It looks like it's kind of hard to find.
Huh. Yeah, I was like,
That sounds so familiar. Why have I heard? Why does?
that's. I almost can
Why do I have no memory of this movie? I'm
almost-
sure I've seen it.
I can almost visualize that VHS cover.
It's Jamie Lee Curtis holding like a 6-shooter.
Yeah. Like I almost remember seeing that on the video on the shelf. That name just pops out too.
It does.
Yeah.
And not because of Zoolander, even though we did just watch.
Oh yeah, the Zoolander look. Yeah, it's free on Vudu and the Roku channel. I don't know if I can access either one of those.
Maybe that's a sign, Cody, that we should not watch Blue Steel. Because it's
Even
just
the free TV doesn't want us to see it.
that does not sound interesting at all. Like, I will watch it in the name of trying new things, trying new movies. But that
familiar. We're gonna have
that description was just like, I don't know about that. Maybe we should. If we really want some Jamie Lee Curtis, let's do True Lies.
I've already watched True Lies.
I know it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's see. Let's find something else then if we want to pair it with something. Oh, you know what? We could pair it with not an action movie. Also, I don't think has any women in it, but it is directed by a woman. Let's see. It's about skateboarding, which is comes from. I was gonna say, how about Lords of Dogtown?
That is an excellent.
You love Lords of Dogtown, Christopher. We can watch it for real on purpose.
Watch if you can find it. Watch the extended cut.
Of course.
Already knows you're gonna say
killer soundtrack
every day.
Excellent movie, and if you get a chance to squeeze it in, watch the Lords of Dogtown documentary, and it will be so much better. It adds so much to it. Because I saw the documentary way before this film came out, so I was hyped when I knew they were making a movie. I saw it twice in the theater. That's how much I love this movie.
Okay, this one is not on a streaming service, but there are copies to find to watch.
Right. I believe I own the DVD, so if you can find it, or I can loan it to you.
If you can find the DVD,
yeah,
then you can loan it to him.
And it's directed by the production designer of Tank Girl, Catherine Hardwicke.
Nice.
Two Catherines.
Well, if we can find it.
Oh, it is two Catherines, just spelt differently.
So when I spelled them both probably very wrong.
One's with a K and one's with a C.
But see, Catherines can throw you so many curves. There's so many like vowel changes and that C and K thing.
And the documentary is Dogtown and Z Boys, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We could pair that then, because, skaters, surfers.
Aww.
So
summer is breathing down our necks right now.
Those are two excellent films, so.
They are female directed, though, probably still appeasing to male audiences, but.
Right. Okay, well, cool. Well, yeah, next week we'll do that, and that sounds good to me. We are still debating our news story or our social topic that we're going to try for our new segment called Social Trek. Hopefully, we'll get that sorted and just in the next night or two. I don't know. We might wait and do it Saturday night. I haven't decided yet, but it'll be before the end of the week. And
okay.
Let's see. Cody, do you have anything else going on? Do you have anything going this weekend?
Tomorrow night, Robbie is joining me for the Hints and Oz series to discuss The Labyrinth.
Nice. Cool.
So.
Well, very cool. Well, excellent. Yeah, good show. Thanks for joining us, and
thanks for waiting on us.
Yeah, thanks for waiting on us. Okay. Always, yeah.
Of course.
Didn't have to go anywhere. We're still late, but that's okay. We were fashionably late as always.
Sorry, Aeon Flux was boring, but is a Karen Kusama movie I hadn't seen before, and it was, I was like, okay, it's a superhero movie. Shazam's coming out.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's just, and it's not really boring. It's just bland.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, and I'm pretty sure there are fans of the movie out there. I prefer the animated series more.
I think most people would agree with you. But I was like, we've all seen Wonder Woman, so which I would have been fine to talk that movie, but we can do that anytime. It doesn't just have to be Women's Month.
Well, you know, I think after we cover Marvel films, I would really like to do the DC movies. Um,
Okay, are we doing the DC Snyderverse movies?
well, I would like to cover the Reeves Superman movies. I'd like to do the Batman films throughout the years.
Okay,
Um, you know, it's not really as cohesive, comprehensive
as
Marvel.
as
Marvel.
Put
as
together perfectly
as
and neatly
Marvel
with the
is. Yeah,
OCD bow on top, like
like when we do Batman, we could probably get away with doing like two shows and you know do all the Batman movies in two or three shows maybe. You know, we don't have to do per episode uh
Okay.
or just
Yeah, we
double
could
up.
definitely do the Burtons and then the Schumachers and the Nolans and yeah.
Exactly, you know, and then cover the Superman movies um and do yeah, again do the Reeves films uh and so on. I think it would be cool to cover those. I think they deserve to be covered just like the Marvel movies do.
I'm perfectly fine covering a lot of the DC films. I'm just not excited about talking about any of those Zack Snyder movies.
I'm not either, you know, it's been a while since I've watched them, so I kind of want to rewatch them for the sake. It's going to be a while though. That's why I can cope with rewatching them because this is going to probably be next year sometime uh later
Well,
on down the line. So by that time, I'll probably be ready to give them a rewatch.
all right. Well, I can't do them all back to back. We'll have to like
Yeah.
have to face himself.
have to pace ourselves, and if we're doing, I'm only doing one version of the Justice League. I'm not doing both.
Yeah, we'll have to
Either pick
choose.
the mangled studio version or the Snyder one. I'm not watching both of them.
I will tell you one thing though. I just saw pictures of the updated Batwing, and holy shit, that thing looks amazing. I'm a huge fan of the '89 Batwing, and it is an updated version of the '89 Batwing with Michael Keaton's Batman sitting in it, and it looked freaking awesome. Like I am not excited, or I'm not really looking forward to watching the Flash film, but the only thing I want to see is Michael Keaton's Batman in this movie.
Same here. I could care less at this point because it's taken so long, and Ezra Miller is a trash person. But you know
Yeah,
what? When I saw that trailer and Michael Keaton's like, "Yeah, I'm Batman." I'm like, "Yeah, you are."
I was like, I can't wait to see Batman 3. I mean, Flash. But I like you know,
Even if it's CGI 70-year-old Michael Keaton fighting, I'm like, "Yeah, that's not really Michael Keaton doing that stuff," but I don't care.
oh man, it still looks great though. I'm excited. My
But
inner
we're getting two Batmans in that movie.
that'll be interesting though. Like I think that's kind of cool that we're getting to see the multiverse stuff going along.
Maybe Ben Affleck actually cares in this one.
Right? So we'll see. Shh, Miha, Miha. Shh.
But yeah.
The kids ate beforehand, and I'm hungry now, so I'm ready to
Well,
go.
let's call it so you can have dinner.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm thinking of. Oh no, we gotta watch the new episode of Mandalorian. So
I haven't seen that yet. I'm a bit behind on my TV. I didn't watch The Last of Us finale yet.
mm-mm.
I did watch the new Ted Lasso this morning because I needed to pick me up. So, and that's a good show for that.
You know what? I haven't watched any of that series. I hear it's great though.
I mean, it was like the perfect show to come out during COVID because it was it's just one of those shows that makes you feel good about being a human.
Really? Okay. I'll have to give
Yeah,
it a shot.
it's really heartfelt and sweet, and apparently that's how Jason Sudeikis is in real life.
Wow.
That
Well, good.
that
Good.
he just is that guy, except without the accent.
Huh. So he didn't send his wife, serve his wife divorce
Well,
papers.
he did send her divorce papers. They did not know it was going to happen at that event, though.
No, I know. I was joking. Well, hey,
Yeah, because she got served while she was showing a presentation of her movie. Yeah.
well, we'll give Ted Lasso a try. That sounds
I've been
good.
telling you to watch Ted Lasso.
Yeah, and in Lizzie's defense, she has been saying we should watch it.
I say it all
But we
the time,
have
people just
we have so many things that we're behind on. It's hard to choose.
book he writes in. Everybody's like, "Oh man, Captain America! Now that you're not frozen anymore, you really got to check this out." It's that.
I have a
My brain
notebook
is
full.
overloaded.
Yeah. We did start Yellow Jackets though. We started the first episode. It's very intriguing.
Yeah, yeah, it's good, huh?
I'm intrigued to see where it goes. It's very cultish, in my opinion. I think I have some ideas on where that's headed.
Also, it's got a great soundtrack.
Yeah, it does, and it's got a very Lord of the Flies
Uh-huh.
vibe.
It's
So
a girl
Yeah,
talk. Here for it.
I'm ready to check it out and see where it
Lord of
goes.
the Flies meets Lost. Yeah.
Yep. So, all right. Well, man, have a good rest of the week and have a good show tomorrow evening. I got to work tomorrow, so that's gonna be fun.
All right. Well, I'll
Um,
see you next week then, and we'll talk about these ladies directing the Bros.
yeah, that sounds good to me. And again, give us a couple of nights, and we will be talking some Star Trek slash social issues. We're gonna give it a shot. Yeah, we're gonna try this out. I've been going over this idea in my head probably for the last year or year and a half, and I keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. But I think I'm gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. So, but anyway, you guys have a good week. Cody, have a good week, and I'll see you next Wednesday.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.